Greetings and salutations. We're going to take a quick look at Xubuntu, or Xubuntu, however you want to say that, 1804. This is Ubuntu with the XFCE desktop, and it is a distribution that is very popular among those who are trying to get the most from their hardware. Either they have low-end hardware that they really need to conserve resources on, or they have really nice machines that they would rather use those resources for applications and games than running a desktop. XFCE has been around for a long time, and over the years I have heard every now and again that they say it might be going away because it doesn't get much maintenance. However, every time that comes up, somebody comes along and starts working on XFCE. So it doesn't get a lot of brand new whiz-bang features all the time. It just sort of sits there and does its thing and doesn't complain too much, and it works quite well. And this is the web page for Xubuntu. You can take a look at that if you'd like. I will put a link in the description to the video. So this is what the desktop looks like. This is how I've got it set up. When you first install it, it's kind of close to this. I really haven't gone too far off. I made the panel bigger because I like bigger panels. It now intelligently hides. I like that. I added a weather widget. I've always got to have one of those, and I haven't been running one of those on the GNOME desktop because it's the one that I was using I didn't like too much. So this seems to be adequate, does what I want it to do, tell me the temperature, and then click here, I can get me some weather, which is kind of cool. And we've got a real simple clock here. We have the volume control. Oh, you know what we have on this desktop that we haven't had for quite some time in my videos, and those of you who have been around for a long time will remember this. We can zoom. It's actually something that made me very happy. So yeah, there you go. I got the forecast if I hover over it. Let's see. And then stop that. The only problem is when you're zooming, it gets a little hard to control. So let's look at the calendar. That's what that looks like. It's a calendar. Wow. We've seen calendars before, Joe. Move on. This is boring. Okay. Get the pretty neat little volume control right here. It's actually worth looking at. That you can boost it much louder than 100% as well, which is why it looks like that the volume is way down, but 100% is about maybe halfway up on this thing. So that's pretty cool. And you see that we have the microphone that I'm using right there. I have control over that. And then I have the Parole media player, which comes with it. It's pretty cool little media player, and I never paid any attention to it before, although I have played around with XFCE. But these days, the media player that comes with GNOME, or the little videos, it sucks. And a lot of the video players that come just with the distributions, they kind of bite. This one is actually not too bad. Parole media player. Of course, I installed Rhythm Blocks because I like that one. So that's the volume control. Can you please turn the volume control off? Thank you. And I noticed that when I zoomed, I seem to have lost my cursor. So don't know what's up with that. So we have a notification area here. This is the notification for Simple Screen Recorder, which is running. And let's see what the bell does. Do not disturb. Haven't played around with that. Notification settings. So you can turn the notifications off. We have a desktop switcher, which I have added. And let's go ahead and zoom this out. Oh, I got my cursor back. Okay. I don't know what you guys see on the video. It used to be that when I used a zoom feature with Simple Screen Recorder, I'd end up with two cursors. So I don't know what that's going to look like until it plays. It's all pretty straightforward, and it's easy to work with XFCE. I mean, it's really easy to work with XFCE's panel. If you want to change things, so I go to panel, go to panel preferences. If I unlock the panel, then I can move it anywhere I want, which is nice. And you can also make it horizontal, vertical, whatever. Intelligently hide. You can choose the size of the panel, the appearance of the panel. So pretty straightforward stuff there. Then we have over here the Whisker Menu, which is a very cool menu. It's one of my favorites in the Linux world. It's pretty tight. The only problem that I have with the Whisker Menu is that, do you hear that? I'm hitting the super key and it doesn't come up automatically. And I looked that up, and they have some keyboard shortcuts that are set that use super and then you click a letter. So if you try and set the Whisker Menu to just work off the left super key or Windows key, whatever you want to call that thing, guess what it does? It don't work. So I've left it alone, and I'm pretty used to clicking on menus anyway. I'm not one of those people that relies on pushing the button to open the menu, so it's not too terrible. The file manager for XFCE is good old Thunar. And the only thing about Thunar that I don't like is that it's just a little bit too simple. And there's like here, there's no search. And to search, you'd go to File, and then you'd open up Catfish, which is a search application that comes with Mate, and I've seen it on XFCE desktops. So there's nothing wrong with Catfish at all. It's just I kind of like to have one in the file manager itself. But remember, XFCE keeps things simple, so that's all right by me. I'm not complaining when I say that. I'm just saying I'm used to doing it another way. If you are somebody who doesn't need all that stuff, then you can go right for it. So, yeah, that's basically it. Right click here, you can change the desktop, and you get a lot of different options there. One of the things I like is that the applications menu is always just a right click away. So if you want to go down here, you can grab that if you want to. Matter of fact, you don't even need a menu down in the panel. You don't even need a panel if you want to. You can just right click and do that. You can create more panels. If you want to take a panel and just put a bunch of icons in it and make it a dock, you can do that. Stick it up here in the corner or whatever. I know Easy Nix, another YouTuber who's kind of got his own spin on Xubuntu that he's been kind of playing around with. That's what he does. It's very cool. And that's one of the things I've always liked about XFCE. It's just a chameleon. You can make it do whatever you want it to. So here in the Whisker menu right here, we've got all the system settings. It's another thing about XFCE that's really nice is this settings manager that they have. This pretty much encompasses everything that you might want to mess around with or change. All the settings are pretty much standard. I installed the firewall there, so I had to put that in. Now, I don't need to open up the firewall. Just wanted to show them that the icon was there. And very easy to work with fonts in XFCE. You could just use scaling to deal with that. So I'll show you that. Let's go to Appearance. Using Numix, the standard one is Graybird, which is actually quite nice. That's a nice. I'll show you what Graybird looks like. If it'll change on the fly. It may or may not. It did, but I need to also do the window manager to give you the full effect there. So let me go back to all settings. And where is it? The window man. It's not window manager tweaks. It's just window manager. And you open that up, and then I choose Graybird. And that's what it looks like. So it's kind of a real nice neutral sort of looking theme. But I like Numix a little bit better, so I'm putting that back. And if you don't like it, well, you know what you can do. Okay, so that's what that looks like, and you can choose from many different icons. And then here's your fonts. You just set it for whatever you want, and then you can set any aliasing there. But here's the thing, this is where you can scale. And one of the nice things about XFCE is that it scales really well. So if you want all of your fonts to be huge like I do, then you can use that. It actually does better than GNOME and or even Mate. I've noticed it seems to do a little better as far as making things render properly when you make the fonts larger. So for those of you like me who like to have things huge because you're blind as a bat, there you go. That is very nice to have. Let's talk a little bit about this window manager tweaks here, because here is where you can change things with the compositor. So what I have done is I've got some effects when I move the window, and there you go, like that. It just was a little sluggish at first to move. This, you get a little bit of opaqueness behind it. So if I open up another application, then you'll see that this goes, the application in the background goes slightly opaque. I like that. Open up a terminal. So made my terminal huge. I might actually reduce these a little bit, but I just really like how easy to see this is right now. So that's what that does. And one of the problems that I have traditionally had with XFCE and NVIDIA graphics is that if you use the built-in compositor, which is what we're using right now, the XFCE4 compositor, then what happens is that you get screen tearing. Not necessarily on the desktop, because you'll notice here that you can set that to draw on the vertical sync, which usually takes care of that problem. But like in games and when you're running Google Chrome, for instance, you would see screen tearing in videos. Well, I kind of got lucky, because what I did was I went looking for a solution, and I came across a video from Don't Call Me Lenny, and he came up with one that really worked. So I went ahead and grabbed that, and I wanted to show you how well XFCE is handling the QT applications compared to GTK there. Anyway, go here. That's where we want to be. So what you do is in your, why are you doing that? Don't do that. Come over here. Thank you. What you do is you put this in your startup, where you set up your startup applications. It's just a command. It's just an nvidia-settings command, and that essentially does something to turn compositing on for the card, so it actually does not screen tear anymore. So this works, and this is one of the first little hacks like this that works. You know, a lot of people, when you're looking up that problem with older NVIDIA cards, they'll be like, you know, you need to create a new configuration file, and I've done that and it doesn't work. This one actually works. So thanks, Don't Call Me Lenny, because that actually worked. And what you do to make that go is we'll go into all settings here, and we'll look around and we'll find session and startup. And let's see, where is that? You guys are already looking at it going, it's over there. Where can't you see that? Oh, there it is. Laughing at me and stuff. You're mean. Okay, so you go here and you create a new startup item right there. You just add, and you give it a name, and you put your command in and a description. And I just called mine Screen Tearing Fix, because that's kind of like what they were calling it in the video I was watching. And so what happens is that when the computer loads up, it switches that setting on, and you're good to go. So now I can't find it, of course. Oh, there it is. It's right there. Okay. So you got the idea there. So that's nice. It makes it where I can actually use this XFCE desktop, whereas in the past, and it didn't matter what distribution I was on. It could have been Linux Mint with XFCE. It could have been Ubuntu or Manjaro or any one of them. That's just a big problem. So there's a fix in case you're like me and you're running old NVIDIA cards that don't like to play YouTube videos unless they're running through a heavy compositor. And that's the main reason that I wanted to point that out, because you know what you can do is you can load something heavier like Compiz or Compton or something like that for a compositor, and that takes care of the problem, but then that also sucks up resources and slows the machine down. The only problem that I have had after turning that fix on is that every now and again when I go to move a window around, it jerks around for a little while before it decides that it wants to go smoothly. But once it gets itself figured out, it's okay. So it's not that big of a deal at all. This is Virtualbox, and yes, I can open up a Virtualbox virtual machine and I can full screen it and I can type in that virtual machine, which is really nice. which is a problem that I have had with the GNOME desktop since day one, is that I would open up a virtual machine, try and full screen it to make a video or something like that, and it wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to type. I'd just lose control of the keyboard. So that's a Virtualbox / GNOME problem going on there that I do not have with XFCE. So that is very cool. It does a really good job of rendering these Qt applications. Here's another one. We're going to look at Ocean Audio. See how it kind of stuttered a little bit there? Of course, the mouse went off the screen, but so this is what Ocean Audio looks like running. That's another Qt application that I use a lot at the time, and I'm kind of happy about that. So will I stick with this? I don't know. I like what I'm seeing, and I love what I'm looking at. They got some really nifty, just nice little theming things going on here, and it seems to be running quite well, and the machine will suspend and it will wake back up. The only problem that I have is that when it wakes back up and it goes to the lock screen, that it's kind of funky looking. There's this monitor I'm using. It's an old Dell monitor. I've had it for a long time. It was a really expensive monitor when I bought it. I've had it for almost 10 years, and it's a very high contrast monitor. It's for I bought it because I needed a monitor that would be very accurate with color and like for editing movies and stuff like that. It was a long time ago. So I spent a lot of money on it. And it's a little funky because like sometimes when you go to set things up, it doesn't catch the native resolution of the monitor, so things look a little stretchy. So I don't know what's up with that. But when the desktop's running, it's perfectly fine. It's just when I go back to sign in after the computer wakes up, it's kind of stretched out looking a little bit. No big deal. I'm the only person that sees it. You know, it's one of those kind of things. So what was I going to show you? I don't remember. Oh, go to Appearance because I thought this was pretty cool. Well, maybe that's not what I want. No, maybe Appearance isn't what you wanted, man. What did you want? What are you trying to do? You're wasting time. Would you stop messing around? Go to Desktop. They have some really neat wallpapers in here and backgrounds. That's what I wanted to show you. Right now it's set on my pictures, but we go back here to backgrounds. Well, maybe it's not backgrounds. So let's see, pictures. What do we got? Backgrounds. Did I lose it now and I can't go back? Is that what the deal is? Maybe so, man. I remember having this happen to me once before with the XFCE desktop, is that you go to change the backgrounds and then you lose where you were to begin with to show the stock backgrounds, and now I can't remember where that was. So I'd have to go searching for it. Is that what you're telling me? Is that how this is? I guess I would. Okay. It don't matter. It makes no difference. You can also select a color. That's nice. Set up whether they're zoomed or not. So I'm going to go back to pictures so it doesn't mess anything up, because I'm using a different thing. And I was going to show... Wait a minute. Hold on. I've got one that's... Bear with me. This is going to drive me nuts, so hang on. We'll just take a look real quick. You know how these videos go. Just chill. Eat your popcorn. So we'll open up Virtualbox. And now let's open up Xubuntu. Shouldn't take too long to boot. Good test for the performance here. I've got other applications running, and I'm capturing a video, and I'm booting a virtual machine all at the same time. So you get to see what this looks like when it boots up. Aren't you thrilled? Doesn't that make you happy? No, it's not SSD speed, actually. The home directory on this machine resides on a 1 terabyte Western Digital Caviar Black 7200 RPM drive. And so it's not like zip. But the system on this machine these days is on a SanDisk SSD. So loads applications pretty quick. But some of the operations from the home directory, That's how this is set up. So now I can actually show you and figure out for myself what this backdrop is supposed to be as soon as that loads. So there's the desktop. And it loads pretty quick, like I said. And you got to remember I'm capturing video here and doing some other stuff as well. So let's go to settings. And we'll go to desktop. Alright, these are the nice wallpapers I wanted you to see. So let's see if I can zoom in here. If it'll let me do this. Yes, it will. So we can take a look at the thumbnails real close up. So you guys can see what they look like. And they are called backdrops. Well, isn't that what it was called before? No, it was backgrounds. So wherefore is that hidden on the system? Backdrops. See, stuff like that, man. It makes me kind of scratch my head sometimes when that, why never mind. So let me go ahead and zoom back out. Alright, gang, you've pretty much seen what there is to see in here and what I wanted to show you. I will put the fix for the NVIDIA graphics in the description. All you have to do is add it to your startup and you're good to go. That's pretty much it. So this is a Xubuntu. Thank you for hanging out with me while we poked around and took a look at it. Will I keep it? I don't know. Do I like it? Yes. Does it have a few rough edges? Now, the other thing to understand is that this is not quite as automated as you might find with Cinnamon or even GNOME as far as how things work. So every now and again you'll come across a setting that they kind of expect you to know where something is. You might have to type something in a box, especially when you're like trying to associate programs and things like that. Sometimes you'll come across that. It's just the way XFCE is. But XFCE doesn't suck up a lot of resources. It is extremely stable. And it just runs. It just works. So like all the other LTSs, this is a long-term support release. Shouldn't have to worry about this for 3 to 5 years. You could just install this and just let it rock in the corner. It makes a great desktop for something like a server, media server you're going to be running. You don't care about having a lot of like flash and animations and stuff like that. Makes a great desktop for anybody who just needs performance over flash, basically. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. We will do this again soon. As always, your feedback is welcome. Please be sure to give Easy Linux a like on Facebook. Thanks for that. Also, check out Easy Linux on the web at easylinux.com and check out freedompenguin.com for more about Linux. And a real quick note before I end this video. I posted a video last night of a fellow that I used to work with. It's not a video, actually. It's an air check. His name was Tom Looney. And I worked with him about 25, 30 years ago at my first radio job, WTAR in Norfolk. And I kind of threw that up there because I had forgotten that I had it. The story is that I had recorded Tom Looney off the air in 1991. And it was this tape that I have been carrying around with me from place to place. The tape went missing for a long time. And then it showed up several years ago. I thought it was gone. And it showed up, and anyway, at some point I turned it into a video to post somewhere, but I never put it up on YouTube. So if you want to hear how really good old school radio announcing sounds, check out that last video I posted. It's just called WTAR Tom Looney. And unfortunately, I couldn't leave the music in, gang, because you know how YouTube is about copyright, but I've already gotten a lot of really nice people who've said that they've enjoyed listening to it, so you might want to check that out. Kind of surprised, actually. I kind of threw that up there because I have some other things like that. I have some old radio stuff up here. So you can look for a playlist called Radio Air Checks. There's some of me. There's some of the people I grew up listening to. Some of my favorite people are there. So if you're into that sort of thing, just letting you know it's on the channel, and check out the last video with Tom in it. All right, I'm gone.